Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another podcast. The $50,000 question. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to start some stuff with this, right? And it's interesting how this video came about. Now, I was checking out this magazine called the Network Journal. Now, as I mentioned on my Deep Thought channel, I go through information like meth. I'm just addicted to just getting information. You know, reading blogs that provide some real information, going through magazines. I mean, I got stacks of magazines. I'll buy $10 magazine just to read one article if it's providing some real information for me. Because as I say, you know, information becomes knowledge, and knowledge applied is power, right? So anyway, I was just going through it, and it was dedicated to black women in business, right? And I think the editor is a black woman. I was like, it's cool, you know, no big deal. But then they had a blurb in there, right? They had a little blurb in there. It's talking about, you know, black women advancing, and then a number struck me in there. It said 14% of black women make over $50,000 a year, you know, $50,000 annually. And I was like, 14%? Wow. You know? Because I think about a video I did where I was talking about top tier black men, and I used that number, and I had several sisters come on there and say, oh, that's nothing. That's nothing. Oh, that's nothing, right? And I was just like, okay. And I, you know, I'm saying, okay, I see what you're saying. Because I already knew 50,000. I used that as a number because, quite frankly, 75% of the American population don't make 50,000, right? But anyway, it said 14%. I was like, oh, okay, all right. And that was based off of something from Nielsen's. It was in a report that they had. It was called Black Women, Our Science, Her Magic, right? And I was just like, okay, bet. And then I started saying, you know, I'm curious. What are black men making? Now, I already knew from stats that black men as a whole made more money, right? And they had one detractor actually say, well, that's because of the pro athletes. We'll get to that in a second. But anyway, right? I forgot what search term, because I'm one of those people. I'll put in random search terms if something pop in my head. You know, I got my little phone. I speak into that Google. I'll say, find something. Find the nearest wing place. And, you know, you got that voice thing, that woman's voice come on there and say, you have one around the corner. As an aside, they should jazz it up. Had some brother's voice on there, be like, yo, man, it's around the corner, dog. Anyway, right? But I found this, I was curious as to the percentage. I couldn't really find anything. Right? Because even Nielsen's, they focused on women, period, regardless of the race, because women are bigger consumers. Right? But I found this one site, and it was for the Wall Street Journal, where you can put in your salary, which you make in a year, and there's a link in the description box, and figure out what percentage of, you know, where you fall. And you can do that about race and at least race and sex, right? So I went in there, saw where I was. I was like, oh, okay, I'm doing well. I'm doing extremely well. I'll just say top 20%. We'll see at the end of the year, though. I'm projected to be top 7%. Yeah, dry snitching on myself. But anyway, right, I put something in for black women, and it actually gave it a 1 point higher percentage. It put it at 15%, right? I was like, oh, okay. I put it in, but then I put it in for black men. I was like, wow, 21%. I was like, wait a minute. Now, okay. All right. Now, we already knew that they were making more, right? But then, you know, I started looking at stuff, and I was like, that's interesting. So 21% of black men make over 50,000. Okay. So you know what I did next? I looked at the population. Now, I went to blackdemographics.com just to check out the population, the black female population according to the census. is 23.5 million, right? So 23.5 million, 15% of that, that's 3,525. That's 3,525 million, right? Like 3.5 million, just round it up, right? Anyway, right? I was like, oh, okay, well, let me do that for the black male population. Now, overall, women outnumber men. That's just a biological reality, like all over. So it's 21.5 million black men is counted by the U.S. Census. 21% of that is 4.5 million. I was like, oh, wait a minute. Not only that was because I was like, wow, that's interesting. You know, all the smack that so many black women are talking about, all these dusty dudes, they not on my level, they don't have any money, but despite having nearly 2 million more black women, and I heard another number, 3 million, wherever the case, let's just say 3 million, right? Despite this number, it's still more. Black men still make more money as a group, but then you still have 21% is more than 15%. And even adjusting for more women, that means there's more black men making over 50,000. And I thought about that. I was like, damn, one of the biggest arguments black women especially have about many men, oh, they not making money. We already know about the education thing, right? Which to me doesn't mean much. If you look at it overall, that's not just a black woman thing. I mean, white women are in college more than white men. Asian women are in college more than Asian men. Hispanic women, that's just overall. I mean, it is what it is, right? But it kills the dusty argument. It makes you wonder. It's like, well, wait a minute. A lot of stuff is about that money, and like, oh, well, these brothers don't have money. Well, apparently they do more than women, right? Black women, right? And I wanted to get into that black athletes argument once again, right? I want to get into that just real quick. The total number, I mean, I'm gonna just round the number up. Like when we talk about black athletes, we usually talking about the NFL and the NBA. You're talking about 2,500 men. 2,500 men, and if you really look at it, most of them will only make so much amount of money in a in a year, because most people, the average career is going to be around 3 years regardless of the sport, right? And even when if you even factor in some of the minor leagues, some people are making in some of the minor leagues, like some of the minor basketball leagues, or even some like arena football, all of that, they'd probably be better off working retail somewhere, all right? But it's not enough. It's not enough to offset anything, or to say, oh, well, it's all those athletes. Because what I also did, because I know somebody would come up with that argument. See, I know I joke around a lot on here, and I seem like that uncle who's just sitting on the porch drinking some, alcohol or moonshine or something like that. People got to remember, I got letters after my name, and if I have to switch up, I can go very academic. If push come to shove, if I wanted to get a job as a college professor or something, I'm very well qualified for it. And when I need to, I can bring the stats. So anyway, right? I looked at it. I say, okay, let's see what black men are actually making their money at, right? So if you go to blackdemographics.com, the majority of black men who are working make their money as white collar professionals or white collar professions. So those are professionals. Those are the doctors, lawyers, dentists, engineers, managers, and then also office workers. 42%, if they're going to make that money. which is actually higher than the next two, blue collar. Now, you get many women, right? Many women. They are talking about, well, you know, they got to be on my level. They don't want to deal with blue collar brothers. Okay. And there are a lot of blue collar brothers. I mean, and even though they're making money, and I don't see what the issue is. And I've actually said this publicly several times. I'm like, they making, I mean, what? You can't be tripping off of that. You got to expand. But the fact of the matter is, if you're saying 42%, right? That don't sound like just athletes or something, or they're in there. And like I said, blackdemographics.com. The link is in the description box. Y'all can check it out. Y'all don't have to, all these links are in the description box. Y'all don't have to pay. Y'all don't have to like just take my word for it, right? So I'm like, oh, wow. And then you got another 23% in service occupations. And you know, that's stuff like being an attendant or something like that at a gym, something like that, right? But I'm just like, wow. You know, and the thing with all of this, why I even thought about it, because there's still that narrative. It's still that narrative. And these are the numbers. I'm not just talking. See, a lot of times people will try, you can give them the numbers and they think it's a lie or something, right? Or, you know, somebody present them with numbers. It's like, oh, that's some bull. That's some bull. They'll try to debunk it, but it's right there. It's right there. These numbers come from official sources. All these numbers are based on the U.S. Census, ultimately. And then organizations that are doing a professional job, they not just on some YouTube thing, they just doing it. They want to know the numbers. Because these numbers mean a lot, especially the demographics piece and who's making money, because you have corporations need to know how they making, how they can divest money. And then there's some other stuff that some people in, I'll say security fields know that's not necessarily public. So, but the thing is, it was like, well, wait a minute. There's actually more black men, despite being fewer in the population, despite the high unemployment among black men. There's more black men making over $50,000 than there are women. And dude, the number is right there. And I wanted to share that because, as I've said recently, I'm attacking narratives. I'm going hard on it because that's one of the biggest problems, narratives. Right? Just as an aside, there were some trolls when I did the video about black men not having children. There were still trolls in there. There's still people who don't. It's like, well, wait a minute. You saying that and say the numbers are wrong. Well, are you doing any research on it? Right? In fact, I need to do a video on that. I think I'm gonna do a video on that one. Right? So anyway, that's it. And I'll talk to you later. Peace and blessings.